Hello, my name is Sedona. I'm currently a junior at Naropa University, where I am majoring in peace studies and yoga. I am also a youth advisor at the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. My role is to connect with, uplift, and empower young people from across the state to help inform policies, practices, and programs to ensure that youth voice is being heard. We have a saying that we like to use, nothing about us without us. Part of my role is being involved in the Mountain Region Youth Health Equity Council, otherwise known as YHEC. I am so honored to be involved in this group because I've recognized that health equity is so important to also be inclusive of different young people's experiences and how these are showing up with different health disparities that we are trying to tackle. So with this project, we had different young people create their own digital stories and take on a leadership role to really amplify their youth voice and experience with health equity in the Mountain Region. So I hope you enjoy these amazing digital stories and learning more about YHEC and what we have going on with youth engagement and health equity. Our target audience is youth-serving organizations throughout the Mountain Region, young people who are working on these issues, organizations and partners working on equity and social justice, as well as universities and colleges across the region. We really want this to have a wide reach and just be used as a tool to see how we can be engaging people in an innovative way and really hearing the authentic stories of our young people when we are addressing health equity needs. The primary role of the Mountain Region Youth Health Equity Council, otherwise known as YHEC, is to initiate action to implement the goals of the Mountain Region, which includes Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico, to advance the agenda to eliminate health disparities from the grassroots level. Our vision is that youth within the Mountain Region will exchange knowledge and promote diverse ideas, creating awareness and acting on the opportunities for improving health equity in our region. Our mission is to address the health equity needs that arise, especially as they pertain to young people, and to build professional skills for careers addressing health equity needs. As an organization, we choose to define youth as individuals from the ages of 15 to 33 years old. Some of the topics that YHEC covers includes mental and behavioral health, substance use and prevention, access to healthcare services, maternal child health, and so much more, as well as all of the shared risk and protective factors that encompass these public health topics. You will hear about some of these today in these young people's amazing and unique digital stories. Our overall goal is reaching optimal health for all to achieve health equity throughout the Mountain Region. We are doing this by educating young people and emerging leaders about health disparities to become champions for health equity and to become empowered to take action in their own communities. We want young people to apply a health equity lens in both their professional and non-professional settings and to serve in leadership roles. Digital stories of youth that experienced and overcame a social injustice is one opportunity to promote the overall goal of YHEC. The purpose of this project is to amplify and uplift youth voices and to redefine and take back our narrative when addressing health disparities. We hope you enjoy these wonderful videos. As a call to action, we hope that you take the inspiration and knowledge generated through these digital stories and utilize them in your own work. And if you're a young person, feel free to share your own voice and create a digital story to share with us, or reach out and connect with other young people who are doing social justice and health equity work. And always remember, once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. And you cannot oppress the people who are not afraid anymore. Cesar Chavez. Sí se puede. Yes, we can.
I'm Amy Ann, and this is my story, the story of my community. Asian American youth are falling victim to an epidemic of epic proportions, a sickness that infects at random and with no determined pattern or significance. While it has been defined in the dictionary, the profound consequences of mental illness are still difficult to articulate, to pinpoint, to understand. Sitting in my history class, I learned about two philosophies concerning human interaction: atomism and interconnectivity. Atomism argues that we're all individual beings who are bound to remain separate, distinct in our individuality, alone. Interconnectivity argues the opposite. We are all connected in some way or another, and every action we take, somehow, will ripple its way around the planet to eventually affect us all. In broken English, my parents taught me the lessons of atomism from a young age, how you must look out for yourself and only yourself in the world, how the system was rigged against us, how individual success relied on individual perfection. We struggled to pay for an endless list of medications to treat my mom's depression and anxiety. Finding culturally competent counselors was a struggle in and of itself. Finding counselors who were also fluent in Cantonese proved to be impossible. Admitting to our relatives that there was someone crazy in the family, that was out of the question. Thus, I grew up with the knowledge that our mental health care system was inherently flawed, full of inequities, that our perception of mental illness was skewed, full of stigma and shame. As young adults and students, there always seems to be the constant looming pressure to be independent, strong, and faultless, earning the highest grades, receiving the highest honors, attending the most elite colleges, repeating the cycle. However, when excellence and perfection are the criteria one defines themselves by, it's inevitable that disappointment and failure will follow. Especially in a culture where discussing mental health issues is considered taboo, juggling one's cultural background with the academic and societal pressures that come along with it becomes increasingly difficult. These cultural phenomena translate to Asian Americans being 3 times less likely to seek mental health services than white Americans. While 18% of the general population sought any type of mental health service or resource, only 8.6% of Asian Americans were likely to do the same. Stigma, language barriers, and a lack of awareness about resources all contribute to this disparity. This virulent cycle of misunderstanding prevents many from seeking treatment because they may attempt to solve problems on their own if they see others who claim to have a mental illness yet function at an unattainably higher level, even without treatment. We all have problems. It is when we try to face them alone that hope is lost. What we can do is increase accessibility to mental health resources for Asian Americans and break down the stigmas that prevent them from reaching out and getting help, liberating the next generation of youth from these emotional shackles.
My name is Christa Cordova. I am 23 years old. I am a first-generation college graduate. I represent the Mexican American culture. I grew up in a single-parent home where I had 2 siblings. My family and I never worried about having affordable health care since we all had Medicaid. This helped my family a lot since our health care was fully covered and we were able to better take care of ourselves. I had my first shocking experience about how expensive healthcare can be during my first semester of college. My university billed me to a health coverage fee of $1,200 on top of school tuition. I was one of million low-income Americans that had Medicaid, which saved me from my university healthcare fee. By the time I start my first job, I no longer receive full healthcare coverage. I paid $30 out of every paycheck for healthcare, and I still have to pay a co-pay for any doctor visit. As young adults, we are allowed to be under our parents' healthcare plan until we are 23 years old. However, for me, that does not apply since my family is still on Medicaid. This causes financial issues for young people and their parents to be able to cover healthcare costs for their families. Adding members to plans can increase families' monthly expenses. As a young adult, I fear when I am older that I will be unable to afford medications necessary to keep myself healthy without experiencing financial barriers. Healthcare should be a right, not a privilege. Everyone should have full health care regardless of their income, age, socioeconomic status. That being said, as a country, we need to educate young people about their health care options and work towards having universal health care.
It's simple. It's a website where you can compare and purchase affordable health insurance plans side by side, the same way you shop for a plane ticket on Kayak, same way you shop for a TV on Amazon.
The Affordable Care Act was an important step America took towards holding our country accountable for the financial burden of health care. The Affordable Care Act provided more than 17 million Americans access to health care. There are still another 29 million Americans today who still do not have health care. As procon.org mentions, the right health care could save lives. According to a study of 2009 studies from Harvard researchers, lack of healthcare insurance is associated with as many as 40,000 deaths per year. As young professionals in public health, the right to healthcare should be at the front of our country's priorities, and realizing that public health is a cause worth sacrificing for.
The term third nerve palsy is not something that many people would say they know or understand. So, what exactly is third nerve palsy? Well, to start, the third nerve in our eye controls 4 out of the 6 muscle movements. It controls the way our eyes move up and down and to the side. This condition also causes drooping of the eyelid and constant dilation of the pupil, so it is sensitive to sunlight. Although there are several treatments for this condition, it can never be cured. After many tests, they found a tumor that was eventually going to grow in what is now my lazy eye. At first, none of my symptoms ever showed. It wasn't until I was turning 3 that the effects of third nerve palsy were starting to come alive. My eyes started to get droopy, and I was becoming more and more sensitive to the sun. Eventually, it was to the point that my eye was just wandering, and there was no end to it. When I finally had the option of getting surgery, my mom had to make the life-altering decision of giving up my ability to move my eye up and down just so that I can have my somewhat centered vision. Hello everyone, and welcome to my story. My name is Christa Koozie, and I am a senior at Jefferson Academy. At this point in my life, I would say that I am really happy with it, but it didn't always feel that way. Throughout my life, the effects of the surgery have stayed forever with me. Growing up, I went to a very small Catholic school where everyone knew everything about you. I was bullied all the way up into my 5th grade year. No one cared to ask what happened to me, except if it was a little kid who always asked their parents, "What's wrong with her eye?" just because I looked different. I knew this was an issue, and even though I did, I never said anything. I never spoke up to defend myself, and I just let it happen to me. I let the people who made me feel bad about myself get away with it. Over time, I realized that I needed to shut it down. I had a voice, and I needed to speak my mind. And even though the effects weren't all great, it made me who I am today. As I got older, I understood that I needed to stand up for myself, no matter how scared I was. I learned the correct ways to respond and how to handle my emotions. Now at 17, I have become a leader in my community that advocates for people to tell their stories. I went from being someone that was too scared to stand up to the people who made her think being different was bad, to someone who willingly expresses her differences and disability. In no way is bullying okay, no matter the situation. Many people who experience bullying do not always see the positive side, but I was able to rise up and become a better person because of it. I am very proud of the person I have become and the journey I am on to inspire others who are like me. I want you all to know that you are beautiful the way you are, and no one should ever make you feel any different. No matter what you went through or how old you are, you always have a voice and you can always stand up for yourself. In the wise words of Mr. Winston Churchill, courage is what it takes to stand up and speak.